talking to you about this very interesting culmination towards the 28th of June. It is going to be a full moon conjunct Saturn and Pluto in the sky in Capricorn. Wow. Some people are like, what a nightmare. What's it going to be? It's not going to be that difficult. So basically May, June, we had a lot of time to put ourselves in order. We had a lot of time to put ourselves in sequence. Some of us have been depleted or diminished in the eyes of other people, and some of us grown. For some of us, there were lots of different jobs and lots of different types of work to do here. For a lot of people, there wasn't. We just kept on trucking on and doing what we think is best. I feel that with this Uranus and Taurus and this incredible Saturn and Capricorn, we really did not have to do things the same way as we did before. We had to maybe look at our past. Some of us had to look at our previous situations. I actually really feel that the more you try to be positive and resolve things simply and easily, the more July would have given to you. There is a very, very nice sort of glitch. Sometimes the system has a glitch. There's a nice glitch where we can still, by the 23rd, affirm and confirm things, and also by the 28th, please people and appease situations in really simple ways, like, I care about you. Here, have a cup of tea. You know, that can actually be really nice. Feeding people, soup, you know, being very beautiful, being very regular and very calm with people at this point in time can really fix a lot. I know it sounds really shallow. We're still in the shallow end of the beginning of Cancer. We in the global bottom of the chart, and what this is basically, to me, this is a part where the plant is growing. So just make it easy, simple, and contain yourself. If you've got feelings, if you want to rip your shirt open and scream at the top of your lungs, really, that kind of stuff can backfire, and it can actually last for a really long time as a disappointment or an embarrassment, and it can be really, really gorgeous perhaps for somebody, but everybody else will disappear. So like how you act out, how you choose to rock the boat, how you choose to put pressure on the situation, and what you're choosing to do in your world can really set you off later in life with others. So extremes here do not really give you a lot unless you're like, say, an actor or an acrobat and you live through expressing extreme. So if you do think to express extremes during this time, at this point in time it does not work. So what I mean is an intense yes or no, like shaking of the finger at someone like this. If you do have this, whoa, this need, go into art, go into business, go into some kind of like crazy situation where there's a lot of room and there's a stage for you to express those feelings. At the moment though, a lot of people are choosing to keep it behind closed doors in their psyche, in their mind. Mum and dad, brothers and sisters, I told you so. I told you so here does not really believe in itself. So what you can do also is, if you are actually weirdly lucky enough to experience an old trauma coming back with somebody shaking their fist at you during this type of time, you can just turn over and go to sleep. You can actually really not be judged by that either. So during this type of time, being unattentive and just like, look, I've done what I could. By the end of July, as we head towards North Node here in Leo, as we're heading towards the end of Cancer, we're not gonna worry about things as much. All the problems that are actually a worry are actually a deep, deep worry, are going to be perhaps a global or collective or like a village issue, and more than one person's probably going to be involved. So if you are carrying a huge light beam to help another person also during this time, you might not, how can I say, get enough stage of presence to be that huge guy or girl, you know, shaking your fists in the air, saying that you're going to change the world. So any kind of like world-changing energies, even though we've got this incredible trine, we got like Saturn and Chiron and Sun at a square from each other. I mean, people are thinking, wow, this is going to be it. But to be honest, I feel because of all these retrogrades and this emotional flow being kind of like, uh-oh, I'm not sure what I'm feeling. I'm not quite sure what I'm thinking. It's meant to be kept casual schedule for now until the end of July, perhaps, where you can actually afford to bring it all out. And if you really have a huge problem, a vendetta, an issue, something that's really bothering you and something that's actually breaking you up inside, and you feel this is part of not just your issue but the world's issue at large, and there's lots of other people suffering like you and going through certain things, yeah, sure, bring it out. But you have to have an audience or some kind of strategy to help it get healed and fixed on a big level. So in terms of getting issues fixed, at this point, it looks like a child having a tantrum. So I'm feeling that maybe a few people are either on the receiving or the giving end of this. Perhaps in July, I feel there's going to be a few monsters coming out of the closet for all of us, and there's going to be perhaps a few too many people falling in love with and walking into situations and circumstances where the dramatic one, are like trying to prove a point. So there's a dramatic energy here in the sky. Also a conflict of faith, conflict of belief, and it's also where the ego is masked under some kind of other mask. Like, for example, it's a personal story, say like the person feels unclear about who they are in the world, and then they go and they start fighting and poking fun at people and doing lots of things, not because they're actually trying to help or heal anything. They're going to try and get their own way with others. So that's very easy here to see, perhaps, for people that have already gone through their issues unconsciously during May. And this should be no longer a bother. So people using global vendetta or some kind of like a social conflict in order to solve their own issue of dependency or their own issue of lack of self-trust and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that going on already. So people feeling something on a personal level and they're lashing out and they're making it something bigger than it is, and it's no longer going to really work as it did back in the 80s. It's not going to really work like it did like even back in the 2000s. So that's one of the global trends that is really drying up here, the need for conflict in order to get yourself feeling justified. If you are one of those people and you're noting to yourself, you're thinking, oh my god, I feel all this pain already, or I feel all this discomfort or all these issues and I'm not quite sure how to get through, we don't really have the same emotional crutches, we don't really have the same kinds of situations to really lead us on and into certain types of environments where people are watching you or people are healing you from your own inner like lack of self-trust or like lack of self. That's going to be very obvious now. So people that are not able to go on their journey, they don't understand the chronological timeline, the emotional timeline, they don't understand where they've come to be and what they wanted. All of this is going to be very, very simple, very easy to crack now, especially for those people who have really tried during Gemini time in June to just like leave it, live and let live. Can we just have a nice time? I believe in you. I believe in myself. I believe this is all going to work out. I trust that this is going to be okay. If you want it to be fine, by the end of June, you might already see who does not like it being fine, who doesn't want it to be fine. And these people should actually not bother you now. But if they're coming into your world and they're kind of beating a drum about things and they're saying, look, you betrayed me, that's actually very, very obvious here. People, for some people who have transcended the human story of lack and issue and self-sacrifice, especially if you feel like you don't need to cuddle up to people to belong, you realize now perhaps that you don't need to work so hard to prove your worth. Like, you don't have to adopt another person's faith just to be connected to them. You don't have to generate money through depression and disappointment via the job. You don't have to do a lot of things that perhaps your ancestors or you have done. If you're one of those people and you're in the middle of a conflict or a weird situation, you can just snap it in half. You can just snap out of it and go, wow, that's not personal to me. That's just one of those things that people do. And you can just walk away. If you're getting so free and so fresh and so radical during this time, then the people that come in obviously are, it's almost like they're a different story. It's like they don't even live in the same dimension. And if you've got somebody else coming to you, it's very likely, if you're like really fresh, and sometimes it's really weird how people ask for healing during a time like this. It's like they will try to nudge you and push you down to get themselves connected. That can be very, very easily seen here. So if you've got someone coming up to you and going, hey, you owe me this, or like, you know what you did, you know who you are, and you're like standing there going, I don't have time for this, but I see that you're having a hard time. Before maybe the 3rd of July, we can actually really have a nice conversation, and it can be a very simple one. Do not be afraid of making it public and giving the person something to eat, you know, so it's like public in front of other people, and hopefully maybe even people that don't know you. So it's like, you want to discuss this, meet me at the cafe, meet me at the restaurant. It's really super, super gorgeous here to have a stroll in the park, to go somewhere public, to maybe involve the ears of strangers by accident, or maybe to have a meal across the table at a really nice fancy place. And it's like, well, everything you want to say to me, say it to me now, say it to me now. Because during this type of cataclysmic time, what is hiding inside, and it's kind of like a snake inside, that feeling like, that feeling inside, this should no longer be part of the picture. That should no longer be part of the thing. So these private kind of like evil feelings towards each other, like he said this and she said that should already be now dismantled, and people should by now be able to say everything that they want to say to another person's face. And here is why, is now we are no longer picking favorites, and we are no longer needed to pick like the bad guy, or like that person who just don't trust. So everything should now be getting smooth. And why that is because after this moon, I feel, or it feels to me, that things can get very ruckus as we're approaching the North Node here. And we actually got almost a direct conjunction between Mercury and the North Node already by the time that we get to this point in the sky where the moon is full. So what I mean is, there is a lot of violence, an internal issue. There could be a lot of issues with oneself. And if you or your friend, you know, they're not really used to having a nice clear time when they talk themselves out of it, issues can really come up. People can really rub against each other like this. If you've got something going on like this and you have a lot of issues happening all around, if there is some kind of like Plutonian madness in this moon, so coming up to the moon, you can already feel what its angle is, and this could be a huge bout of aggression, and it can also be a huge bout of fun. But I'm just like at the moment concentrating on people who have got some kind of small or large story going on, and there needs to be some damage control probably. So if you're already feeling like there's one of those people in your life, or there is something coming in, or there's been issues with the boss, or there's been issues with your neighbor, something is going to perhaps happen before the moon or just after. So for some people there might be some strange unrequited love issue coming up, or unrequited feelings in the workplace, unrequited anything, but you owe me, but why don't you love me, because we also got this Jupiter about to actually go direct in July. And sometimes it is darkest before the dawn. And what I mean is, sometimes people really like to take this opportunity to purge the last bit of evil or the last bit of issue they have. And Moon-Saturn conjunction is not very good for us sometimes, because this can actually push us in the corner, and this can place us behind. So as you are walking towards this incredible moon on the 28th, you might want to see why you're still in a story that you just don't need, especially when someone's talking to you, like somebody's lashing out, somebody's freaking out, somebody's trying to get attention, and you're looking at them and you're kind of like, yeah, okay. But there's nobody inside that's going, oh my god, like you're not taking it personally. And perhaps you also already feel that there is like some kind of guilt or some kind of weird closure with not taking things personally. Things not working anymore. It's just not working anymore. It's like there will be certainly a certain type of story, or a certain type of presence, or a certain type of even like product, or a certain type of something, just a certain type of thing that used to really get to you, or used to really give you a feeling. Now we're just like, oh yeah, okay. If you are there, you don't have to stay there, so you've reached transcendence. And now for the better part of this moon, which is joy, fun and games. This type of lunar functionality. I mean, so good to just give in and do the big thing. I mean, if you are, for example, an up and coming rock star, like book yourself a gig during this time. Oh my gosh, it is really amazing to fly off somewhere to do a huge, a wondrous thing. Booking flights is amazing during this time. I'm serious. It might not really sound like it is, but it is a great time to just go somewhere. It's a beautiful time to no longer disturb people that are sleeping. It's a great time to no longer really need to people say flog a dead horse. I don't like that saying, but I'm going to say it, flog a dead horse. You don't need to try and fix something that does not work and doesn't need you here anymore. You don't have to do it. So this is actually a fantastic time to recognize who and what you need, and also what and who has been there for you in the last few days. On the 21st, 2nd, 3rd, maybe towards also the moon, there might be a reality check as to who's actually here, who's calling you, who's messaging you, and don't be afraid as to why. Now, sometimes it is scary. Okay, like say you put everybody together, because this is a scary thing sometimes for certain people. We're in a dog year, and we had to make friends, and we had to create resolve with a few enemies or past loves and things like that. We just had to get it clear as to who's around us and who's actually gonna be there. What you might actually notice here is that sometimes it is a little bit scary to see how people approach you. And what you have to do basically is not to be there like feeling afraid. It just takes one more step towards them. Just look at your inbox, look at who's there. And for some people, having conversations online and emails and things is getting just as real as having somebody in front of you or beside you. That, of course, should not really be for most people. But if you totally live in cyberspace, yeah, okay, yeah, of course. And this is how to basically differentiate why you're here and who is there for you and how it's all clicking with other people, and how to take this energy further and how to really push on through, because this is one of the best moons for pushing on through and getting successful. And also, as July goes on, a lot of us are going to have a look at some unresolved issues and stories, but if you can already kind of see where it's gone and you're no longer emotionally or energetically triggered by any of it, why not just push on through? Why not just go out? Why don't you just go where you are needed? For some of us, if you're ready. And if you're not ready, you might still be arguing with your next door neighbor. And there's lots of people that are still maybe mighty triggered by their mum and dad. And of course, if they want to, like, say, become a hero or become like Miss Universe or Mr. Universe, it's not easy, because it's like you're still afraid of your mum. So some of us do have to get that very, very strong feeling and a connection and perhaps a lot of transcendence during this time, in order to then maybe very quickly accelerate and in July take off. But there's also going to be, I feel, many, many people that want to do both. So work that out, because this can be a very messy phase. But yes, as I have been talking about people, look at why they've come in and look at what they talk to you about. Like, look at you, like say, for example, you've got 7 or 8 people that message you all the time. What is the context? And as I've actually said before about the previous new moon and July and stuff, being like so epic, you can actually really cause a lot of issues for you in your life if the people around you are just band-aids. Okay, you can cause a lot of issue here if people around you just make you feel nice, but they're not going to be there. Like, say they got a story with someone else, you got a girlfriend, they got a wife, and then they're messaging you because it just feels nice to message you. There should be a definite yes or no with people by now. There should not be like, well, I guess I knew this person. No. Like, it should all be definite. So if you want to take the best out of the spoon, I feel for you, because for some people it's like, I want to be a rock star, but at the same time, I'm still triggered by my mum, okay? Or like, I really want to go out there and fly around the world now, but I'm still afraid of how my home makes me feel. It could be a lot of different feelings, or it could be actually also more like grotesque, or like more like heavy. Like, it could be Like, I want to travel the world, but I'm actually realizing that I might have the beginnings of cancer, you know? So people that are meant to really, really fortify. Okay, people that are really meant to look at how their structures are structured, how their businesses run, what's going on with their home, what's going on with their psyche, how are they replenishing themselves, how are they also depleting themselves and others. These people have to now see that perhaps there need to be a few wake-up calls before you catch the train. Maybe there need to be a few wake-up calls before you go off and perhaps never return. As I feel for you, if you kind of like thinking, okay, do I leave my job? For some of us, yeah, there's this possibility. It's like I can leave all my past behind, all of it, and make something new. That's only for a very few people, but for some of these people, it can't just be like that. They need to make sure that they're sure about what they're leaving behind, what they want. So there's going to be, I feel, a few more of us perhaps later on in the year, but there's going to be people that are actually leaving their collectives and starting to live in hubs, starting to learn from each other on a different dimensional frequency. They're no longer treating each other personally. They don't want to like make a home with someone where they just like get stuck into that sort of nuclear relationship and that nuclear type of family bond where they don't want to know anybody else. So that's really dying off. I'm feeling though that there are lots of people that think they want that still, and that's okay. Like, they want the nuclear experience. They don't want to know anybody else. It's just them, their husband, and their son, and they just want to live like this. Yeah, there's many, and there's not really that many things that I can tell you about that. I can just say that there's going to be an evolution of this, and of course, as you perhaps have seen with people not wanting homes and not wanting families, not wanting children, and this is because we don't have faith in the system how it was, and we're seeing what it's done to the place as a planet. So there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of us that are coming out and into different dimensions, so where we don't actually play on the same scale as other people. We no longer play the same games as other people. We don't want to like nurture somebody in order to know that we are happy. And perhaps also with this type of Cancer month, as was last 2 years as well, that I've noticed, maybe even 3 years, where we were asked, what is your body for? What are you skinned for? Like, what is this? What is this for? You know, the skin, you know, Cancer skin, Cancer home. Why are you like this? Like, what do you carry with you? Is your home inside a backpack? Maybe for some of you guys, it's already inside a tiny wallet, maybe just a card. You know, where is your home? Where is your house? What are you keeping around? And what are you keeping inside? Cancer is a very prone energy sometimes for healing, but also for harm and self-harm, and not knowing if you've got something and not knowing how to heal it. So also it's like at a square to Chiron at the moment and square to Saturn. Perhaps it's time. So instead of, like, say, hanging on to your house during this time, or hanging on to your man, or like hanging on to your job, or hanging on to whatever life support system that you've created in your life, perhaps having a look at your body directly and then trying to get that right. It's actually a super duper time for exercise, you guys. It's a really super duper time for learning how to drive, how to ride a bike, how to ski, how to swim, how to perhaps recycle if you still live in a home that you feel that is the pinnacle of your life, is having a house. If you have a person with you, Jupiter's retrograde, perhaps it's time to know how to use power and sexuality in your home without disturbing the peace, perhaps knowing how to understand sexuality between two people without getting bored or annoyed. It's actually a very, very healing moon at the moment, as we are now on the 21st, but this is going to, I feel, erupt and start to glaze over and then become something new. So what I mean is, this moon that I'm under right now, so I'm doing this at night, it's 21st now. There's a lot of, I feel, talk and energy about what is good and what's not good, what's kosher, not kosher at home. I feel that's going to change, and then by the time we bobsled, and for some people it's going to be like, and for some people it's going to be a bumpy ride to the 28th, we're not going to really want to know more than we need to as well. The 28th, for a lot of folk, isn't actually the catalyst, but I feel that for select few it could really be the catalyst that lasts and lasts. That means to me that a lot of people are going to be still unnurtured, I want mummy, I want daddy, okay? Mummy and daddy, Capricorn and Cancer. I want to be loved, I want to be understood, you know, I want to be listened to. Mummy and daddy, okay? And then for a select few people is gonna be the opposite. I don't actually want mummy and daddy anymore. I don't want to be listened to. I don't want to be a perfect little girl. Like, I don't want to be a perfect little boy. I don't want to be part of a collective which I don't love and trust. And then for other people is going to be a few other things. I feel there's going to be things going broken in the house. I feel that's already becoming true. I feel that Saturn is activating things into purge. Also, it's such an aspect to Jupiter and to Uranus here, you know, things purging, things popping off, you know, like the lid is off, you know, you can kind of already kind of smell what's cooking, you can already understand what's going on with people's hearts, you can probably already understand what's going on with people's anything, and for some people it's just about fixing what has come off. Don't do that. Why? See it holistically, see your story. Okay, it's probably the best advice in this video. See the story as a whole story. Try not to get attached to details, because I'm feeling there's got to be lots of storms and teacups. So, oh, that flew off. Oh my god, my tire popped. Oh my god, like, my relationship is ending. Oh my god, like, the mattress got soaked through because there was a leaky roof. Oh my god, like, I missed the appointment. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Lots of little pop, 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 pop. It's like little storms and teacups. And I actually feel for you, like, sometimes it feels ridiculously good just to fix everything once it comes through. There were lots of times in May during Taurus to do that, to slowly go, okay, that's come off, I will fix it now. Okay, that email's come in, the person's angry, I will fix it now. But at this point in time, you can actually use a lot of your energy, I feel, trying to fix things that are not really going to help you. We have such a pure-hearted Saturn. You know, you can patch things up. You can patch things up all over again. You can start all over again. You can actually make it a mission of yours. During July, as I'm feeling, there's going to be like an extending energy. So extending energy meaning it's going to push you further and further and further, and sometimes it hurts. With this kind of month, I mean, I believe this is a very perfect month to go, right, look at the freaking time. Who am I? Who are these people? What's my life about? That's the best time to do it now. You know, like, what do I want? I want to be on the global stage, or like, I want to write that book finally, or like, I really want to know people that understand, or like, I would like to be one of many of whatever. You know, this is actually a perfect time to really, you know, to really go. But I feel that for many people, it's going to be about fixing and fixing and fixing, and this can actually take you a very, very, very further and further way away from yourself. So what I mean is, like, fixing little problems here and there, fixing this and that, and you can actually get yourself perfect. You can. By the end of July, even actually by the end of June, you can already see that you've actually done a lot of things and you got yourself together. But if you can, by the 28th, by this moon, see your life holistically, like, see everything as one big picture. See yourself as this one person with this one life. And also, please don't discount your last year. It is so easy to discount your last year right now. It is so easy to say, okay, well, I try to be in a band, you know, or I try to be this person. But now, since things are not going so well, maybe I should just let it go and see who else is there for me. You know, or like, what do other people think? You know, where is it warm and nice and kind? Dog year could be a big regret in the next few years, because you can actually leave what you've made or what you've built yourself into in the rooster year, and you can just go, okay, you know, I don't want to know. You know, I don't want to know. I don't want a hard life. I just want to have a very simple life. And a lot of people can really go to sleep. So if you are interested in really connecting to yourself, if you feel that your mission in your life is really important, I would really like to salute you, firstly, because most of us have not really been well. We've started to fall asleep. Start getting things done only in terms of your mission. Like, say if you got a few things go, okay, for example, you might have a disease, or you might have like a few things go off in your body, like get them fixed very fast. If you want, fast, like digestion, fast, and do some kind of activity that helps you feel fine and helps you metabolize things faster, or feel good about yourself, feel good in your body, and just start. So by the 28th or 29th, you don't want it. You don't want this. You don't want to take care of things, fixing a little bit here, fixing a little bit there, making sure that this doesn't fall over, making sure that person doesn't hate you, making sure that everything's okay, making sure that you got everything, making sure that you don't hate yourself, making sure that you don't regret what you say to this person, like really all this like little bitsy like tiny little stuff. It does get a result, but it gets you in a sense in line with everything else. It doesn't help you grow and burst up. So what we want to achieve, and this is only for those people that are ready to admit their cause in their heart, bursting up. Okay, right, I know I can spend hours talking to this person, making sure they like me. I understand that I can spend like many days trying to fix my issues. I can spend hours and hours on the phone with my mom trying to make sure that she's alright. I can make a whole life based around what I think is gonna work, but that's not going to work. This is a really true-hearted approach as well for some people. Like, they're like, oh wow, I'm 27. Maybe I need to fix my relationship with my parents. Or like, oh wow, I forgot about myself. Like, my body is falling apart. That's okay. For some people, it's okay. But as soon as you get there, as soon as you get your connection point, as soon as you understand, if you have a purpose and you've got some kind of life force driving you, if there is something beyond just like sitting on the couch and watching videos, if you're feeling like Netflix is not the be-all end-all of your life, if you're feeling like a huge purpose or a huge surprise coming, or if you believe that you can deserve a more interesting career or a much more interesting family life, or like a better experience, or like a larger feeling, just a larger cycle coming, by the 28th, it is so nice to see things as a whole, to see things as a whole. And for some of you guys also, it's not going to be easy to understand, but seeing all the interactions that you have during this time is a metaphor. Okay, so not taking them too personally. It's a metaphor. Everything is a matrix, everything is metaphor. Don't take things too personally, too seriously. If you can, resolve. And this is for really progressive people. This is for really progressive people. If you're ready for this. Are you ready for this? I'm ready for this. Don't look behind you. It's like, that is so easy to do during Cancer. Oh, well, when I went to school. No. Don't look behind you at the moment. There were times too. What's the chronological? No. The chronological stuff is done. If you could, don't look behind you. What this means to me is that we could really start up a huge game that's exactly the same as what we've done 7 years ago. And we could return to where we were before we woke up. Or very close to that. So what I mean is, if you remember how you started this Aries Uranus, if you remember how in 2011 you just woke up and you said, no more. If you believed in your awakening so much, and if you tried to do so many things new, it would be such a waste not to connect to that which is progressive. It's such a seductive time during Cancer in July, actually, and during this moon, and even June, to just subdue yourself and say, it's okay. It's okay. Someone else can write that book. Someone else can have that perfect marriage. Someone else can have that perfect interest. Somebody else can do that. Where you are, like, this is for progressive people. Okay? where you are in yourself. Can you feel that? Can you feel what it would be like not to have the matrix involvement right now? Like just to close your eyes or open them, however you feel. And what is it that you are actually here for? What's your drama? What's your feeling? Like, what's your life? Like, what's your livelihood? What is your living situation? What are these different jobs and things that you're doing that don't really have much to do with your greater picture? What are these words you're talking about? What are these things that you're saying that you don't even believe? What's a person still doing coming around to your house maybe when you don't really want to see them or they don't want to see who you are? What is it that you're still trying to unglitch where you just know that it's just not perfect? Like, why do you have to fix something that keeps on breaking? Do you need to really like understand this person, or can you just let them go? How many times do you have to fix something for it to actually mean something to you? Huh? How many issues and bad situations do you have to have in your life to feel that you're living it? Why does this matrix reality have to be awful sometimes and constricting and not very good and not very true? Why do you have to have issues just to feel yourself? Why do you have to come to yourself and get yourself understood only when something goes wrong? Why do you have to have things go wrong? Why do you have to have issues? Why is it so hard to sometimes be? What is it that you are waiting for? It's you. This is very perfect for people that are waiting for the perfect crew. This is for people that are waiting for the perfect person. Or that perfect shop, or the perfect something, the perfect doctor, something, okay? You're just waiting on you. You wait for you. Why? But when does this know? By the 21st of June, you might already have to see what's going on. Like, who, why. If you are cuddling and loving, you have lots of different things, and the outside world is super stimulating, and you're finding it very, very hard to concentrate because life is such a flurry of love. Good, okay, good. What are you doing? I'm still going to ask you. And then there are a lot of different ways that we can actually forget what it was to be born at all. You know? What I mean is, by the 27th, I feel you can already understand that maybe a lot of what you have in your world is just a condemning or like a putting you behind. Just lay down, just sit, just get out, just wait. And then there are lots of other dreams that people are living. And they think, I'm 30, I'm not married, or something like this. Or I'm 24 and I still haven't studied. You don't have to do these things. Try to define what is real. Guess what that is? You. So the main concept of this transit is don't get bullied. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you care, that you need to do something that you don't feel in your heart. Make sure that you are connected to your impulses in your body and your blood. If you can, generate extra impulse and extra groundedness by not thinking, not talking too much, and connecting to your voice. your inner voice, so not an outer voice, your inner voice. Begin to distinguish what is and what isn't for you, and you're in control, okay? You're in control. There's nothing else trying to force you to do something. There is nobody else trying to control your life. There is nothing to do with money, power, passion, or trust. There's no more lust or like energetic issues with people. It's just we think that they are. We think that we've got to do things that we don't have to do, and we believe ourselves less when we don't get what we want based on what other people have wanted us to have. So definitely trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your intuition. If you can, make a point of it. Make a point. It's like a pinnacle moon. It's like make a point what you want, what you'd like, and what you'd love, and also who you just don't have time for and who you don't really trust. It's okay, it's fine. If you're here and you're understanding what you do and do not trust, what you do and do not give your time to, where you do and do not stand, just make it sure, make it obvious for you. So a great dimension to break things and to mend things, and I hope that this moon is good to you. If you'd like to know more about me, if you'd like a reading, if you'd like to connect, or if you would like to read one of my books, please check out the links below, and I hope you like my channel. Thanks a lot and enjoy this transit. Bye.